The problem started to arise around 2008 when the world went into what was first a financial sector crisis in the United States associated with the subprime problem. That financial sector problem soon caught fire in other parts of the world, especially in Europe. So it became not only a United States problem, it became a worldwide financial sector problem. Institutions like us operate in that world. It is not possible for us to insulate ourselves from that problem. Now, as a high credit issuer of paper, we have greater credibility in the market than somebody who is a low credit quality issuer. So what we did is, as per usual, we went into the market because we had to increase our lending now to our borrowing members because they are in difficulties. And what is CDB here for? But to be there for our members in their most difficult times. We cannot be lending and providing assistance to our borrowing membership only in the good times. That would be a violation of our mandate. That's not what we were created for. So CDB stepped up to the plate. There were a number of our member countries who found themselves in a position where they could access no market at all. A good example of that is the small member state of Anguilla, who were in a position where they could get no financing. And this is a country that had experienced very, very strong economic growth over a period of time and had demonstrated a credible amount of fiscal prudence and fiscal responsibility. They couldn't access the markets, so we had to provide assistance to them at levels which were quite a bit larger than what they traditionally would have received from CDB. And that was true of a number of our countries. So we increased our lending. So when you increase your lending, of course, you have to also increase your borrowing. We did not change the terms and conditions of the lending that we did to our members because providing them with short-term funding would have not met their requirements. So we continued to provide the types of loans that CDB traditionally provides. On the borrowing side, we went to the market, and in the market, because of the conditions that existed there, investors were quite prepared to lend to CDB because CDB is a credible institution, as we continue to be today, but there was a much greater willingness of investors to lend at what is called the short end. In other words, they were less anxious to go out 15 and 20 years, which is what typically we would borrow for. There was much greater demand at the short end, which is not to say that we could not have gotten borrowings at the long end. And what we did, we took a decision. I would like to refer to it as a tactical decision to temporarily borrow funds at the short end because the premium that we would have had to pay for those long-dated funds would have been so high and they would have been locked in for 15, 20 years. So that what we perceived to be a somewhat short-term situation in the market, we didn't want to go and acquire 15-year money at unusually high spreads, which would then factor into the pricing that we would have to ask our members to pay. So we took the decision to go at the short end temporarily with the objective of quickly refinancing it as soon as market conditions settle down. Well, in retrospect, ladies and gentlemen, if we had our druthers, we wouldn't do it that way. That is how life is. We're human beings, we made an error. And that has been part of the issue because when the rating agencies looked at our situation, they concluded that our risk position had been increased as a consequence of doing what we did. And it also put us in a situation where we were out of compliance with our liquidity policy. So what can we say? It was a tactical error, and it is something that is correctable, and we are in the process. We started the process of correcting it even before the rating agencies picked up the problem. As we speak, we are in the market addressing that problem of bunching, and we intend over the next 2 years to put ourselves in a position where those maturities will be stretched out over an extended period so that the bunching problem will be history.